morning. My name is Charles Wagner. I am the founder of Gramazon.com. It is Thursday, March 14th, 2024, and this is episode 27 in our testimony sharing series. Sometimes we feel completely trapped by life. We feel we are imprisoned in a particular situation or a circumstance, and there's no way out. We pray to God, please deliver us. Please deliver me from this situation. And sometimes we feel that God doesn't answer that prayer. Well, I had a similar situation. My first wife filed for divorce in 2004, and the divorce was finalized in 2006. So I spent the next 9 years without any prospects for marriage. It was a very, very lonely situation to be in. I was praying to the Lord throughout those 9 years, please deliver me, please deliver me, please heal my loneliness, please solve my relationship issues. I want to have somebody in my life who I truly loving and they love being with me. And it just seemed like no matter what steps I took, no matter how I prayed, God would not answer that prayer. So let's put that on the shelf just for a second. And I want to say back in 1983, I met this woman named Karen, and we became friends. We became good friends. I do remember at the time that I was grieving about another relationship that I had lost. And Karen put up with me probably being quite despairing. And yet she was glad to be my friend. And I moved back down to Pennsylvania, and she and I continued to exchange letters back and forth. And I think we exchanged phone calls as well. I know I returned to college. I think we spent a little bit of time together. But one day in, I think, May of 2004, I called her up on the phone and I said, "Hey, I just met the woman I'm going to marry." Karen said something like, "Well, have a nice life," and then hung up. And I was stunned. Why did my friend respond to me that way when I had such good news? And so I respected her wishes, and I did not communicate with her again for 31 years. What happened is she ended up meeting somebody else, and they were married for over 2 decades, and then sadly that relationship came to an end. And she went and got, Christian counseling, and she worked through some issues, and she began to think of me. So here I was, despairing of life in September 2015, despairing of loneliness and no hope for relationships. And I actually didn't think I was a kind of guy that anybody would want to have a relationship with. And so suddenly I get this Facebook message. It was, I think it was in the 3rd week of October 2015. And it was a friend request from Karen, this woman that I had not heard from in 31 years. And boy, did we hit it off the next 24, 48 hours. We updated one another on our lives. And it was like we had never stopped being really close friends. It's like immediately we were right back into that close friendship we were in back in 1983, 1984. Within a year later, I married Karen, and I moved from Pennsylvania up to Massachusetts. And I can just say that Karen has been such an incredible blessing to me. She is the perfect wife for Charles Wagner, and I don't think that's an easy task for someone to accomplish. She has brought out the best in me. And the ministries that I'm working on now with Gramazon.com and the books I'm writing, I believe reflect the quality of her character, her godliness, and her just perfect way of being the ideal wife for me. So what is the point of this whole story? First of all, I want to comfort you by telling you God has a master plan. God knows what he's doing. And something that we think happened to us 30 some years ago, we think is meaningless. No, God has a master plan. So God had me meet Karen in 1983. God had me develop a relationship with her. a friendship with her back in 83, 84, because God intended for us to be married in 2016, 30 years later. Do you see God's handiwork? Do you see what God had done? He knew my life's journey. He knew everything that was going to happen to me, and he had established that I would marry Karen in 2016, and he had me meet her back in 83, 84. And second of all, I was truly hopeless. I knew of no way to meet a woman. I had no confidence that I was going to even make a good impression if I met a woman. And yet here God brought her to me, and she said right away, I am so thankful to have you back in my life. And so God provided miraculously. So my story this morning is to give you guys hope. Whatever situation you are in, God is in control. God is sovereign, and he is orchestrating things. And I would be excited about to see what God is going to do when you believe that he is good, and he does answer prayers. He knows what you need, and he will provide. So even if you look completely in every direction and you see no hope at all, you can have confidence that Christ can miraculously answer your prayer in ways that you couldn't possibly expect. I experienced that in my life, and I just wanted to share that with you. I want to give you one little metaphor, and then I'll close this video. I want you to imagine that you are in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean on a raft, right? And you need to be rescued. And you look around, you look to the north, you look to the south, you look to the east, you look to the west, and there's no ship. There's nothing out there. There's no plane in the sky. There is nothing out there to save you. But I believe that you love me. And I believe that you are the all-powerful, creative God that can come up with solutions I can't anticipate. So I'm going to lay in this raft and just see what you're going to do, because you are good. And then an hour or two later, up pops a submarine. You couldn't see it on the horizon because it was under the water. And there it is, 100 yards from your raft, and you're soon safely in the submarine and being taken back to land. This is the way God often works. He miraculously answers our prayers in ways we can't anticipate. And I just wanted to encourage you this morning that this did happen to me, that God answered my prayer to have a godly woman come into my life, and he did it in a way I could not imagine happening, and because he had a master plan for my life. God bless.